Hi, good afternoon. It's Wednesday. I'm Jim, N4BFR, and here's your COVID 19 midweek update for September 23rd. Let's go right into today's report and look at the daily numbers. Over the last couple of days, we've seen some mixed numbers on tests, and I'll show where that's really bouncing around when we look at the total pandemic view. But the real standout metric for today has been death reports again. So 96 net increase in death reports. That is up 75 over last Wednesday, and now our 7-day average is back above 50. It had just dropped down into the mid 40s, so now we're at 2 deaths an hour again from a mortality pace. So hopefully that is something that as we're seeing cases coming down, we'll see deaths come down as well. The case perspective, we saw cases at 1,500, which is just a smidge below the 7-day average, and down a third from last Wednesday. So hopefully that's a good sign. Last week was the week we had the data dumps in here, both for tests and new cases. So it's hard to judge the trends when you're not getting good data. And I know that I saw the post again today that the Department of Public Health is going to focus more on having the date of the report in its raw data that it shares, but I'd just rather have it get the data as quickly as possible and focus on that instead of going back and correcting other things. I think they're trying to cure a cold when there's a bullet hole that needs to be fixed first. So hopefully they will continue to work on that. New hospitalizations. Strange to see a Wednesday spike up like this when a Tuesday was low. Tuesdays are typically higher, so hopefully we will see this as either an anomaly or should have been split with yesterday and just some late reports came in. Hopefully that'll be better. Active hospitalizations. We have dropped below 1,400 active hospital beds for COVID-19 for the first time since June 29th. So that's almost 3 months. And I think that is very good news. And we should kind of keep cheering along on that. Our CCU utilization is at 79% again today. And if you pop that up, you see the two hotspots are Region H and Region N, and those are both just above 90%. Generally, though, we're keeping to the 79% utilization rate. We've been lower. When we take a look, I'll try and point that out when we look at the weekly numbers, but that was still seeing some good positive numbers over where we have been, and again, being below 1,400 is a good thing as well for hospital beds in use. Go on to a stat of the day now, and I put this together after hearing there were that the nation passed the 200,000 death milestone yesterday. Excuse me. I wanted to see how we compared. And so put this in a per capita view so we could do some comparisons here. And so this is deaths per 100,000 of population, which is the way that most of the per capita views have been calculated. And we're seeing that Georgia was running way behind in the May-June time period, and even into July, but over the last couple of months we've actually caught up, and now over the last few weeks we have surpassed the U.S. average for deaths per 1,000 population. So, 100,000 population. However you cut it, either way, we're going to be ahead of that. So, interesting number to watch. We're at 62, while the U.S. number is just over 60. And we'll keep checking in on this over time as we go through additional additional trends on mortalities here. Moving into the weekly numbers now, starting off with the total pandemic view, and looking forward hopefully to seeing the cases per 100,000 drop below 100. That is the magic number that gets us out of the red zone and into the yellow zone. So we were right at 100.0 today. So hopefully over the next couple of days we'll see that drop down into the 90s, and on the next federal report you'll hear that Georgia is kind of showing some improved status. Some of that is driven by the percent positive rate, obviously, and right now we are showing that to be 7.1%. So we want to keep that up as well and stay in the yellow zone there. We've been in the yellow zone pretty much since the first of the month, and hopefully that will hold up and stay there as we go forward. Let me jump to the weekly total pandemic trend, and that should be coming up. Okay. As I talked about on the testing, there's a lot of variability here. You're not seeing a real smooth trend line on testing. It's drop way down, pop back up again. So interesting to see where that is. I think somebody made a good mention with seasonal allergies about to start back up. We may see more of that. On cases, we see a much smoother trend, but for some reason tests are way fluctuating, and I think part of that is the data dumps that we're seeing there. On to the second part of the scorecard here. Want to show that if you look at the mortality rate, that is trending up a little bit, but we saw, going back to the hospital beds in use, excuse me, we saw this below 1,000 in May, June, so it would be great if it keeps creeping down. So it is nice to know that it's possible to get down below that number. And then same thing for CCU. We saw this below 75% in May, June, and it would be terrific to see us fall into that range. Finally, I'll hit this bottom right chart, which I don't talk about too much, but that actually shows the percentage of people who have had COVID-19 in Georgia. Excuse me. And we are almost to exactly 3%. So 30 cases per 1,000 is 3% of the population. We should hit that number tomorrow or the next day. As we, if we round it off, we're there now. So 3 out of 100 have had COVID-19 since the start of the pandemic, and that was. It looks like if you're looking at the curve there, it does look like it's slowing down a little bit on the climb compared to what it was doing in June and July and August. So I think we see some positives there on that trend. All right, that's the daily charts and the weekly charts. Hope everybody is doing well. I haven't put a lot of school stuff in here, mostly because I haven't seen a lot of it. Right now, I think things are going business as usual. A lot of schools haven't, excuse me. At least a lot of Metro Atlanta schools are just talking about starting some in-person things. And even from the bigger schools that started off in person right away, we saw a little bit of a spike, but we haven't seen the trailing on spike that we thought we might. We are now 2.5 weeks after Labor Day, so it will be interesting to see if we see the numbers start to trend up there from a possible Labor Day super spreader type events. We'll no sense in the numbers right now that that's happening, but we will keep our eyes open, and as we see more data, we will be glad to share it. So right now, I've moved these updates to weekly, Wednesdays and Sundays. It's based on the volume of data I have and really the number of changes that we're having. We're seeing, outside of the data dumps, we're seeing little variability in the data, and for me to just come on and say, "Yep, same as yesterday," it's probably not value for either of us. So we'll keep to those 2 days for now, and if something special happens, it's all I gotta do is turn around and push the buttons, and I'm recording another video. So can come back and do more whenever it's called for. But for now, thank you very much for checking in, and I hope you have a nice night, nice morning, whatever the case may be. And we'll see you on Sunday, if not sooner.